Sorry, Ryan. Majority rules. All right. Full spoilers, and I cannot stress enough full spoilers. If you have not seen Everything Everywhere All at Once, do not listen to this or watch this.
Even if we did, truly, nothing we could say could spoil how the things that happen in this movie. Like, for real, honestly. Like, we cannot explain them in depth how cool the movie is. I'll say that.
If you can go in as blind as possible. I think that it is important too. So full spoilers for Everything Everywhere All at Once. You have been warned. Skip, pause this, jump ahead, whatever. If you've not seen the movie.
Unsubscribe. Wait, that's too far.
Don't do that!
If you're watching this live stream, turn it off. Do not continue past go. All right.
Oh, man, I was going to say.
Okay, what do we think about this?
What do you think about it, Brandon?
I love this. I thought this was incredible.
Yep.
Ben.
So everyone dies. I'm kidding. Yeah, this movie was bonkers with the capital B in a good way.
I love this movie so much. I want to see it so many times. I adore it.
But Sonic.
I'm so pleased. I want to see Sonic too.
It's too many good movies.
But this is one where, like, I want to see Sonic 2 because I want to see that spectacle on the screen again. I want to see this again, but I want to like sit with it and then go back to it and like sit with it, like really digest it because there's so much to digest. Real quick, because Grayson's making jokes about us talking about spoilers. No joke, Grayson, for real. If you didn't see it, there's something they don't give away in the trailer about what this movie's actually about that I do think it is a better experience watching the movie and not knowing it. And I really mean that.
True.
It's not like a death spoiler or something like that. It's literally what the film's actually about. And I highly recommend that if you are interested, don't listen to what we're going to say. Okay, now that we're past that point.
So this movie got a lot of hype, really good reviews, best movie ever made, blah, blah, blah. So I was worried going in, and the first 15 minutes, I'm like, yeah, I'm enjoying this. And then the movie kept going. I'm like, no, this is the best movie of the year. Like I made the joke earlier before Elden Ring, Everything Everywhere All at Once. The year's over. No, just cancel entertainment, baby.
We can just stop 2020.
Northman.
Could be great. Will it beat this? Tough call.
I'm just saying, bunch of whiteys.
So, like, Sparks, you were talking about how this movie, about what really this movie is actually about. I saw a tweet earlier this week about how Encanto, Turning Red, and Everything Everywhere All at Once is really making parents apologize to their children.
So I want to talk about that. Thank you for bringing that up. I want to talk about that so badly.
That was quick. Damn.
As a child of a narcissist, I'm sorry if you're watching this. It is incredible that the current crop of people writing movies are not writing story. I get the joke. They're writing stories about parents have to apologize to the kids. No, they're writing stories about real trauma that boomer parents put their children through for their whole lives, and they are not shying away from it, and they are talking about it, and they are embracing it and giving people something to watch. And I think that's damned great. I'm so excited about this era. It's one of the biggest reasons why I love this movie.
They're putting their parents...
Preach. Lambaste your mother. Preach.
Lambaste your mother. Sorry, Mom.
They're putting their parents... They're holding their parents accountable. And, okay, this is going to... I don't know if this is going to sound out of left field or not, but, yeah, our parents, maybe not our parents specifically, maybe one of ours.
No, mine too. Sorry, Mom.
Has put us through hell and back. They say, and then when we try to talk to them about things, they're like, "Oh, you're just fine. You just don't have to worry about it." It's like, yeah, we do. And seeing that so many other people, so many other artists, so many other people have gone through this shit, and it's finally like, yo, this isn't okay. It's like, hell yeah, it's not okay. And we're finally able to fight back. And they're listening to us.
What's also great, because it's something that, like, how do I phrase this right? Our parents and Michelle Yeoh in this movie, like, they also went through trauma growing up.
Mm-hmm.
So it's like, it's generational trauma, and it's when you learn to stop passing the buck.
Right.
And that's what a lot of the movie is about too. It's about not just like, hey, parents need to stop like shitting all over your kids. It's like, oh no, your parents also went through it too. You need to have a little more sympathy as well. because that's something I definitely, growing up, I know, like, being a single mother's hard on a person, you know? So, like, growing up, I know my mom did her best, and, like, being an adult, I can recognize that stuff. And
that's why I don't necessarily agree with what Ben was saying, because a narcissist is not someone who is just an evil person that needs to apologize. It is someone who suffered generational trauma and is passing down generational trauma in a specific way, I know a lot about that. Ryan knows a lot about that. Like, this is the kind of storytelling that I have been dying to see come from my generation. And I'm so happy we're here now.
And the thing that, like, because I'm sure there are literally dozens of like low budget dramas that we haven't seen that tackle the subject, right?
Mm-hmm.
The fact that this is a hardcore science fiction movie that also is one of the most like emotionally like resonant movies of the year is a testament to that how good the filmmaking really is. Like this is like, again, like this is like a Matrix. This is like a once in a year type of movie. Like I love this movie. It's so good. It's like it's so sweet. It's so bonkers. It's like it is a 4 quadrants movie, but like truly like it's so relatable to everybody, but also it's so bonkers and interesting. It's such an insane movie. Like I can't believe it.
I just, before we get into like the other stuff of the film, I want to also respond on like the generational parent thing, because I can contribute to it, and I didn't think this was something I was going to bring up today, but I'm going to. Real quick, I want to address that. That was not Ben's point. Ben was regurgitating a point that has been made in like article things, but not necessarily what Ben was saying as a point. Just the overall like generic press take that's out there of that's what this is about. Mad props, Ben. I know what's up. But my we all have it, and like mine's my recently deceased father. But like my dad was not my dad was a drunk, and like we had like our big kapow kapow not so great moment when I was about 14 years old, and my dad stepped up from that moment to try to be better, and then his dad died and he fell right back in the hole, and it took about 3 years for him to kind of rebalance himself. And then I spent the next little over a decade actually having a relationship with my father for the first time. That was like one where we actually saw each other. And I'm grateful for that. I'm really, really grateful for that. So like that kind of moment, that like the catharsis of what the conclusion of this film is, that's what my dad actually ended up finally giving me. So I hear you all, and I feel for you, and I'm glad that this can speak to all of us on those different levels. And it's something that unfortunately not all of us get enough of, and even when we do, it's not always like I'm here to say like it doesn't solve every problem.
Yeah.
But it's cool that storytelling is here and just doing it.
And it's so direct.
It's awesome.
It's not like beating around the bush. It's like directly tackling like, hey, this is what you did to me, and this is why I am the way I am. And it's like, again, like I said, like I used the word earlier, but like it's like refreshing. Like this is a movie that like I've never seen before, and it's not just because it has like hot dog fingers. Like it's like the last movie these guys made was Swiss Army Man, and that's about like a corpse that farts and is used as 1,000 different ways. I'm like, I cannot see what these guys make next. Like I cannot wait. Like their imagination, the Daniels, is like, it's insane. Like they're so good.
I want to put on the record that I also really love Swiss Army Man. So
that's a good ass weird movie.
Yeah, I like the movie quite a bit.
The ending of that movie is insane.
Yes, I think about that ending a lot.
Yeah, it's an insane ending.
Yeah, I really love this movie. I think it's incredibly inventive, incredibly complex in its simplicity.
Yes, it's complex, but like they give you all the information. So like there's a lot of things happening, but you're always engaged and you know what's happening.
Right.
Yeah.
There's so much verse jumping, so much like going to different universes, but like they lay it out and it makes sense. Like
the beats that you walk through it with Evelyn really work. Like the way that like, here's a chunk of a lot.
Mm-hmm.
Digest that.
Yes.
Okay, you're settled. Here's another chunk of a lot. All right, digest.
It's like a 5-course meal.
Right. Yeah. Exactly.
Yeah. And they introduce you to the family, and they introduce the movie as kind of this family drama of we've seen the trailer, so we know how it's going to go. But the movie takes its time to build into when Alpha Raymond comes to comes there, and that becomes the first hint that there's something different in the movie. But we've already spent time with the family and got to know their character dynamics together and what's happening with the divorce.
Yeah,
I thought that was a good choice to just kind of like hold back a little bit on the verse jumping and then introduce us.
Like you see like what like the American dream is for so many people, and it's like they run a business, it's not exactly doing great, and they got a family, and like this is what we're supposed to be doing. This is what I'm supposed to be doing. This is what you do. And Evelyn's not feeling it anymore.
Mm-hmm.
And it's just like, and like, oh my god, the shifts. Like, can one of you guys find the actor's name who plays Ed? The guy who's come back to acting.
I'm on it.
Every time he shifts from Ed,
Waymond. Waymond is his name,
okay.
And he's played by Hua Kwan.
Okay. When every time he shifts from like his version to like Alpha, it's like, oh, Evelyn. And it's like, it's so good. He is so funny. And like that dude has not acted for decades. And I'm like, oh my God, he's never lost it.
Yeah.
The last thing he did was The Goonies. For those of you who've missed this for some reason, he's Short Round from Indiana Jones and the Temple of Doom.
I watched an interview with him recently. After Goonies, as he became a young adult, there were no roles for him as a leading Asian actor, and he quit acting because he was so like put down by it. He called his agent after seeing Crazy Rich Asians, and then 2 weeks later, he got this script. It's like a match made in heaven. It was like he is so good in this movie. It's like that dude's been an actor his entire life.
Yeah, I really liked him. In this movie. He has a fight scene that is straight out of a Jackie Chan movie that I adored.
With the fanny pack, that was so good.
Yeah. So apparently, Ryan brought this up to me. Like Jackie Chan was the original, like thought of for the role. I'm so glad it went to this guy.
Me too.
I'm so glad because like I think you would have a harder time. This is no knock on Jackie Chan as a performer or anything. I think you would have a harder time connecting to the emotionality of this character because you would know it's Jackie Chan. And I think you would have a hard time removing yourself from that.
Yeah.
And there's something that's so wonderfully vulnerable about his performance here.
Oh yeah.
God, I just adore him.
And
I adore this cast.
He's able to kind of channel the Jackie Chan like big, like, you know how Jackie Chan can kind of go big, especially when it comes to like action and comedy. He can channel that, but he also can channel into this emotionality that I know that Jackie Chan can do, but you know, he's gotten into the Jackie Chan persona too much now, but he's able to kind of be so sincere and split the two Waymans so well down the middle of having this like big Wayman and then the calm one who just wants everyone just to get along.
He has like a frailty that I just don't think Jackie Chan, unless he like lost up like a bunch of weight, like he just wouldn't it wouldn't be the same.
To be honest, it's not just that. Like Hua Kwan has a higher register.
Yeah.
Which automatically like just lizard brains us towards like more weak, more frail.
Yeah.
Because his voice lives in that higher register. And I think that does help to just put you with him a lot faster.
Yeah.
What your perception of him is supposed to be.
There's so much like verse jumping and just like seeing so many fun parallel worlds. But like, honestly, the thing that I think about most is the Michelle Yeoh is an actress universe, where her husband is like another like famous guy, but they're not together. But they have a scene near the end of the movie where they're talking about like, oh, we could have been together, and he was like, you know, I would give it all this up to do laundry and taxes with you. And that was the scene that made me start crying in the middle of the theater with all my friends next to me. And I'm like, no, I will not let my friends see me. My little one tear. This movie got me emotional so many times, so unexpected. Like right after big giant sci-fi epics, like set pieces, like the tone is all over the place. Again, you can have like an emotional scene while you're seeing sausage fingers in the scene. And I'm like, this is making me cry right now. Like it's just cinema.
Just seeing the sausage finger on how the sausage finger apes killed off the regular finger apes. And that
apparently it's so funny. Apparently this one, then it cuts to 2001: A Space Odyssey. And I just thought that was so funny.
Yeah,
It was one of the funniest things I've seen. And even just all like those like primates, those prehumans, like with their sauce, with the hot dog fingers.
So ridiculous.
What I love about this movie.
God, what a joke.
What I love about this movie is how it straps you in for something that you think is like, it's essentially like good guy versus bad guy. It's like, hey, there's this force out there who is going to destroy literally every single universe that we have, and you're the only one, you need to stop it, to a mother and daughter reconciling together.
I just real quick want to step in. Some people who are watching would have seen me just on my phone. Ke-Huy Quan is how you say his name. I just wanted to look up the pronunciation because I didn't do my homework before this, and I wanted to make sure we were doing it right. So I was doing it off my own site, but I just checked how to pronounce it. It's Ke-Huy Quan.
Gotcha. Cool. What was I saying?
Sorry.
Joy.
I was
talk about Joy. You gotta talk about the big
how it goes from like, oh, we need to take down this big bad that's going to destroy every single universe in the entire existence, to when you find out who the big bad is, and then it's Evelyn trying to like essentially save Joy. It's like, no, I do want to be with you. Let's reconcile. Let's fix things. And it's an entire roller coaster. One of my favorite scenes in this entire movie. And I don't know why it's one of my favorite. I don't know. It's because it takes a break and it's quiet. And also probably because it's funny as all hell is when they're rocks.
Yeah, dude, that scene hits harder than it should. It's so, I can't believe it. It's so good.
It's the quiet.
Yeah.
It's after, not in a bad way. The film has been so full of noise up to that point. It's the quiet and sitting there and doing your interpretation of the conversation because there's no dialogue audio to it. That's what makes it like really like punch.
I wanted to wait, but since we're here, the rock scene is one of my favorites as well. Everything that has to do every single time when they go back to the rocks, the loudest I laughed in this theater, and my theater was also, but it was when they're laughing as rocks and it's just ha 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 written on the screen, and that was just so funny to me.
Oh, yeah.
Right, everybody really cracked up at that. I want to talk about Joy, but I real quick want to acknowledge Mags. Am I the only one that thought the kung fu teacher might have feelings for Evelyn? I did not get that read personally. I thought that there was a possessiveness.
Yeah, I think it's
but not a romantic possessiveness, like just an actual like a manager kind of possessiveness.
Like I'm your teacher. Like I'm
Even
like
your pinky can be kung fu.
Therefore, I own you. Kind of possessiveness.
I'm sorry, but also the pinky part where she like. Then the
pinky string
bicep to it.
Yes,
the very
kung pao. Enter the fist.
Yeah. Real quick, can we talk about the guy who does a cannonball onto a butt plug?
Okay, so since I've been waiting to jump in on this, yes, I want to talk about because we've talked about how the verse jumping. We haven't talked about yet how weird it is to do verse jumping, that you have to do a weird thing in order to go to a different universe. And I really love the fight scene where Evelyn is trying to do weird things constantly to verse jump and through all these different universes while she's fighting people who are doing the same thing. And one of the funniest bits is a fight scene where they're just trying to keep the butt plug trophy away. And that was extra funny for me because I turned to Zara when we first saw the trophies on Jamie Lee Curtis's desk. Before she even like pointed to them, I go, they're shaped like butt plugs. And
I told Ryan after we saw the movie, I was like, the moment those awards show up, I was like, that's going up somebody's butt.
Someone's butt. That's happened in someone's butt. Like I do too. And so like trying to keep it away from it, and then the bald guy just running and jumping with his pants
doing a flip, legs spread, lands, dust.
There's a lot of really great stunt performers, but like that big bald security guy, he's the MVP of like the stunt guys because his expressions were so hardcore. He was the cannonball butt plug guy. I'm like, I'm gonna remember you forever.
Yeah.
Even before he does the cannonball, when Wayman is like, when it's Alpha Wayman and he's like kicking ass with a fan pack and he looks up and goes, oh fuck, and it gets hit in the face with
because he says Craig.
Oh, it's Craig. Oh my god,
that was very funny. Craig
worried about his friend who just got beaten with a bunch of aquatic rocks.
Man.
I swear that fight scene with the fanny pack, I will never look at fanny packs the same the way ever again.
That fanny pack fight scene is
I stepped out and I'm like automatic contender for best live action scene next year.
The fight scene, the fight scene, the fanny pack fight scene is my favorite scene in the movie.
It's so good. It's certainly my favorite action scene. I won't say it's my favorite scene, but it's my favorite action scene
That's what I meant.
Yeah.
Action scene.
Hard agree. I want to talk about Joy. I want to talk about, this is what I alluded to when I was specifically telling Grayson to not pay attention to us.
I think she's secretly like the best actor in the movie.
Joy is the fact that like this is about Joy, that Joy's pain is the center focus of the film, that it's about her relationship with her mom and that she is our antagonist, is not given away in the trailers. And I benefited so much from not knowing that going in personally.
I didn't remember
I was so grateful to like not know that it was such a pleasant surprise how much the story was actually going to be about Joy. What a fantastic performance from Stephanie Sue.
Oh yeah. I think there's a scene at the end where she starts breaking down and I'm like, oh my God, this girl's so good.
She is.
Oh my God.
I truly like, I love all the writing around her. I love the concept around her. Her hallway scene getting to Evelyn in her first appearance as Jobu Tabaki is so good. She's so good at playing the multitudes, uncaring.
Yeah.
When we first hear that Jobu Tabaki you're just saying noises.
Yeah.
She verse jumps by clicking her head.
Click to get into place is
so sick, man.
So good.
I really love, but real quickly, I just want to bounce off what you're saying. I really love how it is visualized that she is everywhere. She is in every verse. She's all at once, essentially. I really like seeing her nails like change color as she's walking. How she can just like turn her head and be in a different universe.
Yes.
Those really love it.
I was gonna say those costume changes that she has throughout the entire film, where she is like full on Jobu Tabaki, and it's just like when like her final costume, like her final big costume before she goes. And by the way, also I love the bagel joke. When she goes before she goes into bagel, and she looks like a K-pop / hip hop star with the jacket that has the teddy bears on it. Or even when she's in like that whole I'm just gonna call it the sanctum. I can't think of a better word. Where she's in the sanctum of the bagel, and they're in that crazy looking uniform that she has on. That once again, the whole time I'm sitting there watching this movie, it's like, God damn, this movie's gonna be sweeping the Oscars next year. If it doesn't, I'm gonna riot.
Here's the thing, Ben. It won't, because Hollywood hates really good movies.
And it came out now, so they're all gonna forget.
It came out at the beginning of the year. Yeah.
I mean, this is a sci-fi film. Those don't always do well at the Oscars. This is the Daniels. I think the Daniels got Swiss Army Man nominated for something, but I don't remember what exactly.
Yeah.
So they might get something at the Oscars, but I don't think it's going to be sweeping.
I'll tell you for sure, like it should. I mean, obviously, I haven't seen the other contenders. It should get nominated for best editing. Incredible editing. And I frankly also think Michelle Yeoh should get nominated. But I think everybody gives a killer performance. I think I love that Jamie Lee Curtis loved making this movie.
Oh my God.
Loved doing all the bonkers shit she does in this movie is so good.
Speaking of Jamie Lee Curtis, she was on Jimmy Kimmel and she was constantly yelling at the audience, like, go see this movie. Do your best to see this. Every single actor was like hardcore championing to go see this movie. And I'm like, yes, this movie it deserves it.
I'm a tweet
constantly. Jamie Lee Curtis is constantly praising it on her Instagram and sharing things and background stuff and all that kind of like. Clearly loved it. Everybody loved it. Everybody loved making it. That's very obvious. I love her commitment to it. But my point being, like, I think all the performers are fantastic. I think Kei-hee Kwan is incredible. I think Stephanie Sue as Joy is incredible. I think our Becky is incredible. For the limited amount that she appears.
Jenny Slate is in it for 5 minutes. Jenny Slate's
in it for a little more. She gets to throw her Pomeranian around.
She does have a Pomeranian fight. Bro, you
That,
threw your hands in the air at that
I did.
point.
I was like, I can't. I don't know.
that was definitely one of the
Tally
scenes
Medell's
where Fanny was laughing the hardest, because here comes Jenny Slate and she uses her Pomeranian as a weapon, and then she goes, "Sorry, buddy," and kicks it.
Yes.
Sparks, what did you say? He drowned you out. What'd you say?
Oh, sorry.
I was trying to say that Tally Medell's our Becky. I think she's good too.
Cool.
Obviously, you've got James Hong as the grandfather.
Oh my god, with his
Gong Gong.
mech wheelchair? Give me a break.
Me just wanting to highlight, like, I don't think there's I think all these performances deserve awards. They're so good. Frankly,
Yeah.
like, I know they will never get nominated for them. Maybe if anyone did, it would be Michelle Yeoh. And she truly, truly deserves it, because this is giving her so much to display of what she can do, and the emotionality she's able to tap into throughout the entire piece is incredible.
This is one of those movies that, like Ben, you bring it up, like I would love to see like nominations for like for everyone. Like, I really think like Stephanie Sue.
Just Stephanie Sue.
I like as Joy, like that scene where she's breaking down in front of the car, like at the end of the movie, like that is a Oscar winning performance right there. Like both I was crying in the theater next to my homies, and I hate doing that. Like they're so good. But because this isn't just a drama, because there's sausage fingers in it, hot dog fingers, it probably will get ignored. Like, and this is such a, oh man, art baby.
The amount that they were able to do with such limited locations, but they sell me on everything and every beat. But like, we're only in such limited actual.
So
places.
you guys might know this, but for audience members who don't, a lot of the locations were the same. They were the IRS spot and the laundromat, just repurposed. So a lot of the same locations were used multiple times. Obviously, they're outside in some places, not in that case. But like, this is a $25 million movie. This is a low budget movie. This costs less money than most regular dramas that come out today. And I'm just like, it makes me just again really excited for the future for these guys, because I'm like, they've made nothing but in like great movie after excellent movie. I'm like, man, like people like, oh, original movies are dead. Like, go see this movie, please.
Yeah.
Smag, Ben, if you could.
Got it.
Brings latest.
We haven't even talked about it.
It's a fun bit because she first mistakes Ratatouille for Raccacoonie, and then turns out there's a world where she knew Raccacoonie. It's a very funny sequence of this animatronic raccoon on this person's head. It's beautiful.
They just commit to every amount of comedy they can wean out of that.
Mm-hmm.
It's really great. I told Ryan, I'm like, I kind of love the ridiculousness when you think about it of the hot dog finger world, because it's because they specifically show that hot dog fingers are something we evolved with. We just decided to create a world where we don't make anything that actually accommodates them.
Yeah.
The animals are still built for hands, not feet.
Still gotta like do
the
this with your
luggage is
luggage.
still built for hands, not feet. Like,
I love it.
That's because this is a $25 million movie.
no, but I think that makes it better.
Even funnier.
It makes it better. I don't want them to create the world where like they thought about that. I prefer the dumb.
Raccacoonie could have been something that showed up once. Did it show up once? No, it showed up so many times. Yeah. We kept coming back, and I loved every minute. Dude, that raccoon screaming in the cage, I was dying. It's too much.
Michelle Yeoh on top of this dude's head.
Yeah.
And then the dude on top of her head.
Yes.
I love it when she goes in the kitchen and she sees him, and the raccoon is like, she knows too much, kill her.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He pulls the giant hat off of him. Come on.
Yeah.
You even see the raccoon tail outside underneath the hat too when you first see him.
This is like, again, this movie tackles so much, so many different tones, so many different genres. Like, it's a miracle that it works at all. But like, it's like again, like potentially the best movie of the year.
It never loses its like consistent thought on what Evelyn is experiencing and how that ultimately connects to her relationship, not just with Joy, because this is not just about her relationship with Joy, but it's also about her relationship with her husband.
Yeah.
And it's also about her relationship with her father.
Yeah.
The three main figures in her life, it's about her relationship with all of them. Certainly Joy is put most front and center because she is our antagonist through Jobu Tsubaki.
Yeah.
But it's also so focused on, like, she has to have a kind of cathartic moment of realization about her relationships with all three of them as individuals, and how she has to approach each of them differently. I don't think there's there are very few things I can think of in film more beautiful than the moment when she takes the googly eye, puts it on her forehead, and Wayman asks her what she's doing, and she says, "I'm learning to fight like you." And it's hard to beat that kind of beautiful full arc that we go on with that.
Yeah. You brought up Joy, our antagonist, through Jobu Tupaki. What I really love about it is that the moment really works because both Evelyn and Joy are every Evelyn and Joy throughout the entire multiverse. Joy does not start out as Jobu Tupaki until Jobu Tupaki like inhabits her moment, but she is always Joy.
Yeah,
she is always Evelyn.
Right.
Like these two characters are always this character throughout all of the multiverse, and so having Jobu Tupaki has the same issue with her mom in every universe, which is that she didn't go to bat for her with the grandfather. She didn't. What we talked about in the beginning.
Well, not necessarily every universe, because in some universes she doesn't exist.
Oh, sure.
That's why the one where she's a film actress is kind of a safe haven from Jobu Tupaki, because she can't go there.
Yeah. So having the two of them talk like that and have the context of them being all of their versions just works so well because of that. I think
there's one specific
that well.
No, it's okay.
No, I'm with you. Yeah. I hear what you're saying.
There's one specific montage, like you see it in the trailers of like you see the flashes of all their faces, but like specifically, it's like 30 full seconds of just versing, so much versing, and I'm like, I cannot imagine how long this took. Not just editing, but
you got to think through everything about the coloring,
every single thing. There's monsters that they have to like digitally make. Like
you have the color light that's moving, which is the circle
in the
same motion as
hundreds of thousands of pictures
in the same motion as a washer. The color circle light that moves when things are really evolving and changing.
Just like there's not a wasted frame, like at all.
And the fact that you can have such truly gorgeous emotion happening as Evelyn's making her approach on Joy at the end.
Oh, yeah.
And she's also doing such goofy things as like giving people what they want, which can be a BDSM bite guard and some spanking just to like make somebody happy on the way. Like the way that the movie's able to hold both things in its hand at once is pretty incredible. The balance of tone, the fact that it's able to hit everything pretty much pitch perfect for exactly what it wants to deliver is a rather remarkable feat.
Yeah.
I'm just so impressed and pleased.
Like for real, like this is the type of movie where it comes out every once in a while, and I'm like, okay, blockbusters can be this. Like I think of the movies that we generally review, and I'm like, okay, genre is this, we are capable of this. Like I think of Lord of the Rings as like maybe the best example of like high, crazy, like Oscar-winning fantasy stuff, right? Like this movie's like we are capable of more. The MCU is capable of more. DC is capable of more. Like we can have emotional stories in genre, right? I'm just like, this movie makes me believe in Hollywood again, basically. Like it's so refreshing that again, all of my favorite shit is genre shit, like Westworld and like Dune, like stuff that's like so beyond realism, but it still has human elements, and that's always my favorite shit. And this is exactly that. And I just it's hasn't made its budget back yet, but it's a low budget, so hopefully it can get there, especially with like word of mouth and stuff. It's just exceptional. It's an exceptional piece of art.
Mm-hmm. I agree.
I desperate. There are other movies that I haven't seen. There are movies I want to see again, but I'm like, this is the one that like, if I don't see a new movie, this is the one I will see again.
Right.
Absolutely.
Yeah. Very, very. Just like we could go around the horn. I think talking about so many things that we love about, so many favorite moments. There's a ton. It's an endless stream of just wonderful, wonderful things.
Yeah.
But I think we've analyzed like the heart of why the film is so well grounded. I think there's something very. I do want to highlight, because I don't think we gave this quite as much attention, the evolution of her perception of Jamie Lee Curtis's character Deirdre.
Oh yes.
and the way that they interact with each other. I think there is something beautiful about the moment of
I just talked to him.
Both for Wayman being able to solve it when she says, my silly husband probably screwing things up, and he actually fixes it, which is wonderful. But also the humanization of Deirdre, where she says, he told me what's actually happening. I remember when I was going through my divorce, and makes her also a person to her, which at that point had not come clear. And the fact that like all of those elements are allowed to like really be present.
And there was a verse where like
wonderful,
where they're like together.
Yes, the hot dog finger.
It's beautiful. It's really cute.
The hot dog finger one, having the two of them together. The hot dog fingers apparently seem to be just an aphrodisiac to people, and have no other purpose other than sexual.
Well, I mean, have you looked at them?
Yeah, the hot dog one. Yeah, it's weird because there's hot dog fingers, but at the same time, like when Evelyn comes home and she stops playing, she's like, no, keep playing. I love it when you play. And she's playing the piano, and you see them, and you see him just like, I know the feet's weird, but at the same time.
No, okay. Real quick though, the fact that like she's playing it with her feet and her left foot still has to have the brace on it.
Yeah,
because that kind of it's that kind of like thinking that shows like, God damn, they really they think about everything.
Yeah.
They think about every beat of these characters.
That is really cool. I did like that, but. Besides Jimmy Lee Curtis playing the piano with her feet, just everything them going through their relations, like because there was a scene looked like where Jamie Lee Curtis was leaving, like Michelle or Evelyn was like, I'm done, and then but they reconciled again.
I'm sorry, Ben, you said besides the feet. I'm talking about that as a highlight, not a detractor. I think that's a very funny moment that works in that moment.
It is because they keep.
But you said besides the feet thing, as if I was implying that I did not mean it to be a positive.
We're pro feet.
We're pro feet here on this podcast.
No, I'm really not.
I don't want to get that stamp on this podcast.
Stamp it.
No, I think we already got the stamp for this one. The sanctum of the bagel.
No, I thought it was I thought it was the cannonball butt plug.
The cannonball butt plug is pretty good.
The thoughtfulness of how the versing works and the visualization, the weird things they do, like make your hands like this to see the bagel.
Yeah, to like open
things
your
like
eye,
that.
yeah.
Just such creative visualization from top to bottom. I truly like. Again, we could praise everything about this movie. At this point, if you've listened this far and you haven't seen it, like it's something you just kind of have to experience for yourself.
And again, I still think honestly, like we didn't even do it justice. Like this movie is too good. It is that good. Like Elden Ring, Everything Everywhere All at Once. End of the year. Sorry.
One of the things about this, like us analyzing this film, it keeps bringing me back to the title about how we're talking about Evelyn, we're talking about Joy, especially Joy. And how it's like, man, you can easily say she's everything everywhere all at once because it's so true throughout the entirety of the film.
Yeah. Do rocks multiply?
You smash them, then they do.
You're thinking about it too much. They don't want you to think about it that much.
I got chills.
Okay, speaking of which, I love it when she turns around as the rock.
Oh, the rock turns around and runs away.
And
it's very funny.
Yeah. We didn't highlight it quite too much. We did talk about how great the editing is, but the way they do the sequence when all of it starts happening, which is Evelyn going between the janitor closet in one verse and sitting in the meeting. Yeah. The way it starts and the like turning of the head and the swapping of places and all that, and like the bit where they're in the janitor closet and Deirdre like rises up because she's intervening into the verse, but she's not really there. Like all that is so good. The way they do that in a couple of moments where like something from one verse that's actually happening to Evelyn is pulling her away from the verse she's visiting. Also good.
I can't like it is definitely like a small movie, but I just can't believe like the budget is so low. Just because I know how much movies cost these days, even normal movies without special effects cost more than this. It's just like it's just incredible.
So the interesting thing that I just put together, because you talked about how like she turns her head and she's in a different verse. One of the things that I think is really cool is that when Wayman and her are in the janitor closet, he says that this is kind of a meeting dimension. Like it's not really another verse. And we see that verse be created because he says like, because he says later in the movie, every decision you make creates another universe where you made a different decision. And that's why he picks her, because she picked all the wrong decisions to get her to that place. And so like he's purposefully created a universe to have a meeting with her in.
Right.
I think that's a really interesting idea.
Yeah.
All he had to do was give himself a paper cut.
But she was picked because she picked every wrong choice.
She's the
in
worst
her whole
Evelyn
life.
In the multiverse.
She's the
But
worst
by
Evelyn.
being the worst, she gets to be the best.
I love that concept of just like you're the worst Evelyn in the whole multiverse. You're
Billion
the
of them.
worst. You're the
You're the
worst
worst.
one.
You're the reason. It's very good.
Really good commentary on just like, it's kind of what I used to like about Doctor Who, which is an interesting comparison. But like the companions of Doctor Who used to be nobodies, and then like he would whisk them off into an adventure. Like it's that kind of thing of like, yeah, your life seems terrible, but you're actually destined for more.
Yeah.
Sure.
Yeah. All right. Should we rate it?
10.
Yeah,
Yeah,
I think we're all 10.
11, I would.
I mean, let's be honest, it's a 10 for me.
Yeah, 10.
All right. 10 across the boards. 4 10s. 40 out of 40.
40 out of 40. That's
Perfect. A perfect 40. What was the last movie to get a perfect 40 from all four?
Batman.
Spider-Man? Oh, Batman.
Was it the Batman?
Oh, I give Batman a 9.5. No, I give Spider-Man a 10. It was Spider-Man.
It's Spider-Man then, yeah. Mac also gives it a 10, so it makes it 50. 50 out of 50.
40. Put that on the DVD cover, baby. Give it to us.
50 out of 40.
Brandon, I'm so glad you're joining us at a 10. That's all.
Of course, I love this movie. I have nothing bad to say about it. Okay. And I was thinking, to be fair, I was thinking like a 9 when I was in the shower this morning, and I was just like, I have nothing bad.
Yeah, I was even trying to be like, is there anything to be critical on? And if I saw it a second time, maybe, but like, no, perfect.
And it's kind of like what you said, Sparks, about a movie. Gee willikers. Bill and Ted. You talked about Bill and Ted. Like, I cannot think of anything. This did exactly. You were very positive on Bill and Ted. I feel the same way here, where it's just like there's just nothing wrong with it as far as I can see. So it's got to be a 10.
Hell
Right.
All right. Shall we do a book club?
Shall we book it, Dano?